After you watch this video, make sure to go check out Infinity on Hannah's ranking of all of the songs on A Fever You Can't Sweat Out by Panic! At the Disco. All of the songs from worst to best. It's a really interesting discussion. There's a link at the end of the video. What's up everyone, welcome back to Beyond ARTV. My name is John, and today we're going to talk about Panic! At the Disco, Brendon Urie, and why I feel Panic! At the Disco needs to finally make a heavy metal album actually happen. Panic! Are currently cruising towards the top of the charts once again. They've had a couple of hits from their latest record, Pray for the Wicked, and I say there, but it's really just his at this point, considering it's Brendon Urie being the only official member, and then obviously friends that work in terms of production and playing live. Pray for the Wicked spawned the singles Say Amen, Saturday Night, and then of course the major hits High Hopes and Hey Look Ma, I Made It. Now those are much more pop friendly, also in more of a Broadway type of fashion, which makes sense considering Brendon Urie was on Broadway for Kinky Boots. And now he's been doing Twitch streams as he kind of takes the rest of 2019 off, and he's been playing some clips that hint at the future direction of the band.
People are like, is that really you screaming? I'm like, yeah, but...
That was a metal version of The Calendar, which is a song from Vices and Virtues that came out in 2011. Obviously that's a little bit older, but Urie hasn't shied away from the fact that he loves metal music, and he can actually pull it off vocally. You might remember his Positive Hardcore Thursday series that he did on Vine.
Positive Hardcore Thursday.
I had a really good childhood! Everything was fine!
Positive Hardcore Thursday.
The sun is shining and the weather outside is beautiful!
I couldn't get enough of those back in the day. I thought they were so fun, it was such a great idea, and such a gnarly voice for also the positive messages that ensued, and who could forget my personal favorite Vine that he did like that?
I'm Brendon Urie! I'm Curtis Support! It's a really great day for Positive Hardcore!
Some metal fans would be turning over in their metaphorical graves if they learned that Panic! At the Disco were going to take on metal, but I genuinely think that Brendon has a fascination and an appreciation for the genre that could really make this successful. I think that Panic! At the Disco have explored a lot of different sounds over the years, Beatle-esque influences on Pretty Odd, and in the early days they were kind of doing their own thing, combining vaudeville elements with electronics and alternative and pop punk, and in more recent years they've explored more electronic music, dance stuff, anthems, poppy stuff, and I would like to see something heavier because Brendon Urie is one of those vocalists that has such a wide range that he could bring a different dynamic to the genre.
Some kind of a hook, I don't know. It all should be a hook.
If you've tuned into Brendon's Twitch streams at all, then you've probably seen some of the snippets, or maybe you've seen some of the highlights that have been uploaded to YouTube. But he recently talked about the fact that he got drunk and stoned and recorded a song in either his bedroom or his bathroom, and it actually sounded pretty menacing. It had a nice little guitar lick, and it's something that I could see myself coming back to, especially if he laid some cool vocals on top of it.
Ready for this riff? The re-intro riff, dude, it's everything.
In all seriousness, I really would love to see this happen because Panic! At the Disco desperately need a shake-up. I would also like to see more members permanently added to the lineup because I like the fact that somebody else gets to creatively contribute, like Dallin Weekes did, say, during the Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die album cycle. I think that Brendon could use some outside voices that aren't just that, aren't just from the label, or aren't just the producer, maybe some actual bandmates that could team up and make a metal album possible. I think that metal is a genre that I don't necessarily dabble in all the time, but when the voice is right, when I hear it, I know that I'm going to gravitate towards it. And from what I've seen from Brendon's metal side that's just so brutal and angry, I think that he could pull it off. And I know that a lot of fans would probably be off-put by that. Maybe they're not into that. They just want more of the dancey side, especially now that Brendon Urie has seen huge mainstream success on the back of the single Me, where he featured on with Taylor Swift, and obviously High Hopes, Say Amen, and other tracks, even I Write Sins, are still super popular to this day. I think a lot of people would be thrown for a loop, but also, isn't that kind of fun sometimes to give a middle finger to the industry and to expectations and say, I'm gonna do my own thing anyways? The Panic brand has proved time and time again that it's resilient, that it can come back from some of the lower points to rise up once again and dominate the charts. I think that metal could be injected in a very different way, and it would be kind of tasteful, I think, especially if you combined other elements of pop music, perhaps, alternative rock, and then put it together with some heavy riffs. I always liked when Weezer did the metal riffing thing on their 2002 album Maladroit, so to see Panic at the Disco actually explore that would be very, very intriguing. Now, from what I understand, Brendon has actually recorded alternate metal versions of several songs from the Vices and Virtues album, and I think he's done it with a few other tracks over the years just for shits and giggles, just for fun, to entertain himself possibly, but I think that they could be released, at least give us a full version of the calendar, because it was sounding so good for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just because I know it as an original song, and then hearing the metal version done by the artists themselves is just crazy to me. Maybe it's that, or maybe it genuinely won me over. I'm not entirely sure yet. But the future of Panic at the Disco is a little bit uncertain in terms of what genre they will explore next. I don't doubt that Brendon will resurrect the project and the name very, very soon. He said that we won't have to wait too long for a follow-up for Pray for the Wicked, but I'm honestly going to be disappointed if it's more like that, because that was my least favorite Panic record to date. I know that they could bounce back strong, and injecting a little bit of a heavier side could be the exact dose and the life that they need. I don't know why I keep saying they. I know it's he. Scrub it from the record. I don't mean to do that. It's just a force of habit, because I feel like I'm talking about a band, but it's like a solo artist that actually has a pseudonym. Now that you've heard some of those previews, what do you think about heavy metal being a realistic genre for Panic at the Disco in the future? Do you agree with me in thinking that this could be cool to at least see an experiment and maybe finding a way to inject some of that heavier sound into a future record? Or do you think it's just Brendon tinkering around, toying around to entertain himself, and he's never actually going to fully release the recordings to the public? I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. While you're here, if you enjoyed this video today, then join in the discussion by dropping a comment and leave a like on the video, and subscribe to my channel if you happen to be new, because we talk about music every week for the love of music. You can tap this playlist link right here if you want to see more Panic at the Disco themed videos that I've made, or you can tap over here to see the most recent episode of the Dear John Q&A. All of my social media accounts, including my Instagram, can be found in the description down below, and other than that, you can support the channel on Patreon, and I'll see you soon for more on Beyond ARTV.